ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict has led to the demands for taking away the permanent seat of Russia on the United Nations Security Council. That raises an important question regarding the process of expelling a permanent member of the UNSC. Is it possible? If yes, then what is the procedure for the same? We will look at it in this video. First, the background. The year 1945 marks the signing of the United Nations Charter. It laid the foundation of an intergovernmental organization known as the United Nations. Its goal is to maintain global peace and security and to uphold international law. It has 6 principal organs which are listed here. The organ we are concerned about today is the United Nations Security Council. The UNSC is empowered to establish peacekeeping operations, enact international sanctions, and authorize military action. Also, it recommends the admission of new UN members to the General Assembly and approves any changes to the UN Charter. Remember this. Any changes to the UN Charter will be approved by the United Nations Security Council. Remember this as point number 1. As per the Article 23 of the UN Charter, the Security Council consists of 15 members, of which 10 members are non-permanent members and 5 members are permanent members. USSR, the US, the UK, France and China were allies during the Second World War, and they emerged victorious against the Axis powers. They got themselves permanent seats on the Security Council, gaining the name Permanent 5 or the P5. The P5 have the exclusive power to block any substantive resolution. This is known as the power of veto. The word veto is not specifically mentioned in the UN Charter, but as per the Article 27, concurring votes from the permanent members are required. That means a negative vote or veto from any permanent member will block the adoption of a draft resolution. Remember this as point number 2, the veto power. Now we will address the main question. Can a permanent member of the UN Security Council be removed? The answer is yes. However, it is extremely difficult to do so. Let us try to understand why. We have seen that Article 23 mentions the 5 permanent members, but no procedure is mentioned in the Charter for changing the list of permanent members. That means the only way to add or remove permanent members is to amend the UN Charter. Now from point number 1, we know that UNSC approves changes to the UN Charter. As per Article 108 of the UN Charter, ratification by 2/3 of the UN members and all 5 permanent members is required for amending the Charter. Now from point number 2, we know that permanent members have veto power. Suppose a resolution comes up to expel Russia from the UNSC's permanent seat. Russia will veto it, that is obvious. The legal way of ousting a permanent member is to convince them not to block the resolution for their own removal. Since the 5 permanent members have the authority to veto, they can lose their UNSC permanent seat only if they are willing to give it up. Of course, that is highly unlikely to happen in normal circumstances. Has any permanent member been removed in the past? The answer is no. Has the permanent status changed in the past? The answer is yes. Once again, I would like to draw your attention to the Article 23 of the UN Charter. Look closely. Here it still mentions the Republic of China and the USSR as the permanent members. Now, the USSR disintegrated in 1991 into 15 independent republics. Russia, officially the Russian Federation, was the largest post-Soviet state that emerged from the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It took over the Soviet nuclear arsenal and assumed the rights and obligations as a successor state of the USSR. The Russian Federation took over the Soviet permanent seat, facing no objection from any successor state. The permanent members did not want to open up the topic of the permanent membership. Hence, they quietly recognized the official change in the permanent status from USSR to Russia without changing the charter. International recognition validated the claims, and Russia still holds the permanent seat. Another interesting case is Taiwan, officially the Republic of China. The Chinese Nationalist Party, also known as the Kuomintang, controlled mainland China from 1928 to 1949. In the Chinese Civil War, the Chinese Communist Party defeated the Kuomintang-led government of the Republic of China. Following the defeat, the ROC government retreated from the mainland to Taiwan. On the mainland, the communists proclaimed the establishment of the People's Republic of China, which still exists. From 1945 to 1971, the Taiwan-based government claimed to represent all of China. So did the Beijing-based communist government. Until 1971, the Chinese seat was held by the Republic of China, the ROC, the Taiwan-based government. But in 1971, the seat switched to People's Republic of China, the Beijing-based communist government. How did this happen? In 1971, the then US President Richard Nixon recognized that Beijing and not Taipei governed China. A resolution was adopted in the United Nations General Assembly in 1971 declaring the People's Republic of China as the legitimate representative of mainland China. This changed which of two Chinas got the permanent seat on the Security Council. Taiwan was expelled from its permanent status, even though the UN Charter still names it as the permanent member. Once again, international recognition validated the claims of the stronger contender. What is the conclusion that we can draw from this? If a permanent member loses strength, they might be forced to give up their permanent status. They say, those in power determine right and wrong. Might is right. Only strength respects strength. I hope you got some clarity on the removal of a permanent member of the UNSC. That is all for this session. Thank you for your time.